Greetings and salutations, this is Imperator Vespasian and his trusty sidekick.
Hello.
We're taking a look today at the bishop or a high priest of some kind who would, in our particular game, either be part of the Livonian Order. He would be there to take care of the spiritual well-being of the soldiers. Some of them were actually representatives of the papacy, and they would basically take notes on the battlefield. So they would take notes as to who'd done particularly well, who got a really good backhand kill, who chopped the most heads off, who broke a shield wall, and at the end of the battle, prayers would be given out to these people. And he'd also deal with the dead and minister to the dead and wounded. Most of the monks, this guy's probably going to have some form of medical training, and they could also administer medical aid as well as spiritual aid. Although spiritual aid was a lot more important in the medieval period.
Yeah, for some reason.
Yeah, like the Romans had actual professional medics. The church had to theoretically deal with that, and so this is just representative of one of these guys. Normally, bishops, certainly in the Northern Crusade, would actually fight. So a bishop would actually be indistinguishable, other than his clothing, other than his heraldry, to a normal knight. They'd ride on horseback and fight in battle, depending on which bishop it is. It was the Bishop of Riga who originally founded the Livonian Order. Well, not personally. He requested knights to form an order, and so could be him.
Indeed.
Any questions?
Did the bishop do any fighting?
Yes, I just said that. Some bishops actually fought as actual knights, and some knights became high-ranking in the church after they retired. Although typically the grandmaster, you grandmaster for life, or until you die. Although some did retire when they got too old, but mostly you were grandmaster for life. But it was possible to slip into the church. As for normal knights, some normal knights would enter the priesthood.
Priesthood, what's that?
The clergy.
What's that?
The church clergy, the bishops, prelates, priests. They become a priest. Because they were priests, they were monks, technically. The knights were warrior monks. And they knew all the Holy Order stuff, so they would be well versed in the church.
Did the bishop have bodyguards?
Yep, he would have had bodyguards. Most of the bodyguards would actually be from the local town. They wouldn't. The Holy Orders would not supply bodyguards to the bishopric. The bishop would employ his own soldiers, usually private hired soldiers. So usually there would be a few troops with the bishop protecting him. In this particular instance, we're going to be using him as just an additional unit for the army, so technically he would have his own, the knights would represent his own bodyguard. Next question?
Did the bishop have any? You know, because he has one of these.
Yes.
How many of them did he have?
Well, he had one close aide, who was usually a scribe who would write stuff down. He would have an apprentice, who wouldn't actually be training to be a bishop, although up in the north probably were. Generally, you would have a scribe who would write everything down that you said, because it all needs to be sent back to Rome to tell them what was going on. And you would also have a number of other priests with him, so there would be a whole retinue of priests sort of knocking around, sort of minor figures of the church. As to whether or not they went on campaign, probably not. Probably wouldn't be that many. Look at Vienna, there was only one priest there.
Well, yeah, who won't be there?
Yeah, and he represented his own church, basically. Also, military leaders often had their own priests as well, to take confession and things like that. So they were very, very religious people, the Holy Orders. Because they were actually Holy Orders, so lots of religious stuff going on.
And they believed in what they were doing.
Yeah, totally. I mean, as for the Northern Crusade, I don't know how you can really morally justify the Northern Crusades, especially as a lot of the Crusades carried out by the Teutonic Order, sorry, the Pointy Hat Men, a lot of Crusades carried out by the Teutons, like the Wendish Crusade and things like that. Many of the people who were fighting were actually Christians, and a lot of the Russians were Christians as well. It was really about power and territory. There were pagans around, there were a lot of pagans, but there were also Christians as well. So it didn't really, it shouldn't really merit a crusade, but it did. Then again, quite a few of the crusades were against different sects of the Christian faith.
Yeah.
Like the Bulgars and people like that were massacred by the Crusaders. But they were Christian, they were just as Christian as other Christians. It's a complex thing, and a lot of it's to do with power and territory. Especially for the Teutons, they were after territory. They were building a kingdom, they were building an empire. And some people stood in their way, and if they were Christian, it didn't matter to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, really unpleasant people, the Teutons. Didn't like anybody.
Bloodthirsty.
Very bloodthirsty. Yeah, they would leave the battlefield covered in severed limbs and stuff. The Livonians, they would actually bury the dead properly with a Christian ceremony, which was different from the Teutons, who generally didn't. They used to leave bits lying around for people to find.
Yeah.
Psychology. Next question?
That's it.
That's it. Oh, that's boring. Right, the figure is from Gripping Beast. It's part of the Dark Age range if you want to pick one up. And I just painted it up as a bishop of the period. So thank you very much for watching. Over to him.
So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and comment down below what you think of the bishop. That's everything from me.
And everything from him. Goodbye.
See ya.